Hey everyone, I have some exciting news. I just joined a new band. We're named Sheets and Blankets. We're a cover band. Hey kids, Adam here. We are coming back to Reaper. We are coming back to some mixing tips. Took a little detour there to do some bass videos, and I'm going to do that from time to time. When I started this channel, I wanted to do everything. I wanted to be Reaper, I wanted to be mixing, I wanted to be maybe some bass playing cover songs, some bass recording. I just went through my bass collection. In fact, I'll put a playlist up here. A lot of people ask what basses I use and what songs, and I went through all of them in a 5-episode series. But we're back. We're going to head into Reaper. We're going to talk about referencing today. What is referencing? So you hear people say, people post a question saying, how do I make my mix sound more commercial? And you'll always see answers, oh, reference commercial mixes. What does that mean? In a sense, what you want to do when you're mixing is you want to compare how your mix sounds to various aspects of commercial mixes that you like. For example, let's say you're doing a straight ahead rock, 80s rock band, and you want to know what your song should sound like. Pick up any song I have AC/DC Back in Black, play the two next to each other. Now you're never going to get exact, and you're not going to get in a mixing process a mastered, finished product, but you can get your guitars to kind of sound right in there, and your drums to kind of sound right in there, and your spatially, your stereo spread in there. That's just one example. There's a ton. Let's go into Reaper and let me show you how I did this and how I do this in my mixes. Show you a couple tips and tricks, and let's go. All right, here we are in Reaper. This is my band Underground Hive song, Cash, It's Mine, in parentheses. Put a link to this full song up here. Let me just play you just a little bit of the song in a couple different spots that I want to key in on.
Cash on the ground, it's the sound of another month's paradise. Walls turning to brick stones, burning like breath.
Let's go into a bridge section. So there's just 3 different sections in the song that kind of have a different sonic feel. And what I want to do is I want to compare these to commercial songs, or in the case that I'm going to show you a second, to one of the previous songs that I mixed, to make sure that I'm on the right track. To me, it sounds good to my ears, and the way our ears work, if you listen to it long enough, it's going to sound good because your ears will adapt to what it sounds like. I want to make sure I'm not completely off base with a commercially recorded track. First thing I want to do is I want to create a new track. And Reaper apparently has no way to create a track in the beginning of the song. I don't know, and actually I'll create 2 right away. For the first track, I'm going to bring in one of my songs that I did. It's actually the song that I mixed previous to this one. It's called Get Up, and I'll put a card up here. You guys have heard that on this channel a few times. I'm going to bring it in. Hang on. All right, there's a couple things you need to do. If you'll notice, I have a bunch of plugins over here on my master channel. I don't want this track, because it's already mixed and it's already mastered, I don't want this track to pull in any plugins. So if you right click on the little fader knob button here, you want to uncheck the master send, and that will not send it through your master track. But now we need some kind of output. I want to output it to my speakers. So if we go to add audio hardware outputs here, and let me move this up to make sure you get this. You go to add hardware outputs. Usually the first one is your master output, and you can check by hovering over your master track outputs here. And now, if I go over here and solo this out, I want to lower the volume quite a bit. You can hear that this track is on.
Let's go.
So to go back and forth, what I do is I mute this track, and then all I have to do is solo it on and solo it off, and it'll go back and forth between the 2 tracks. So for this song, I want to do mostly this bridge guitar, which is this in Cash, and a little bit of the drums. It's a different sound. We recorded the drums at 2 different locations, 2 different times. It was about a year apart. Guitars were recorded completely separately and differently than before, but I want to get kind of sonically to sound the same. In this song over here, if I go to the beginning, right about here, that's about where I want to go. So I'm going to split this song, delete this out, and then drag this over to the bridge part. So now all I have to do is turn solo on and off, and it's going to go between get up and cache. So I want a volume match here. Now we have things lined up, we have things volume matched. You can tell that they sound very, very different. Part of it is this song, Cache, I recorded at a time where I didn't actually, I was on a loan program for some of the plugins that I now own, and I no longer use the plugins that were on this track, so I had to kind of make some changes. Well, just don't worry about that. So when do you really do this? I would say when you get things figured out, pan, balance, volume fader balance, you get some plugins on, you get things sounding good to your ears, you want to reference these at different points in the mix. I wouldn't say wait until you're all the way done, but I wouldn't say just start from the beginning and just start, comparing it to commercial mixes, because that will never work. So let's compare Cache here to Get Up, and we're going to listen specifically to the snare and the kick. And just kind of listen to the differences as I flip between the two, and you'll see, I'll put something on the screen that shows you which song is playing. Just kind of listen to what the differences are between the two. So we'll start with Cache because that's the song that I'm actually working on mixing, and I'll flip back and forth. So I noticed some things. First of all, it seems like the kick is much more punchy and much more attack on it in Get Up, and the snare pops more in Get Up, and they don't do the same in Cache here. I'm not going to go through and fix this and show you how to fix this. These are just kind of notes on what to look for and what to do. So what I would do next is I would look at the kick, and I would say, well, how do we make this a little more snappy? Do I need to add maybe some 8K? Do I need to take out some muddiness? Do I need to just increase the volume, more parallel compression, more things like that? And as I'm going from project to project, I usually copy over the plugins that I'm using on one project to the other. So it may just be a matter of tweaking it. The snare is the same thing. I think a little bit of volume, a little bit of snap. I was doing some different things in this versus the last song. I've been fighting with the snare, as you guys have heard through these videos. Through the whole album, I fought with the snare. So I kind of did something a little bit different for every song. Let's listen to the same thing and listen to the guitars, because there's the drastic difference between those. So Cache first. So for the guitars, I think they sound good. I think the guitars in Cache are maybe a little fizzy, and I would work on some EQ and compression to kind of even those out. We also, in this song, we're using amplitude. I may mess with the amp sim a little bit to get a little bit better, a little maybe less gain going in and make it a little bit well-defined. So that is the first song that I wanted to reference. We're going to attempt, I don't know why I'm saying this, because if it doesn't work, you won't see this part, but I'm going to attempt to use a commercial track, and hopefully the video doesn't get blocked. So hold on a second, let me bring another song in. All right, we have this song. It's called Be Yourself. It's by the band The New Master Sounds. And I specifically chose this because I want to reference some of the clean guitars in the verses. So I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to right click on this, uncheck master send. I'm going to add my hardware outputs, and then I'm going to play it and volume match it.
Another month, paradise. Walls turning to brick shop. It's mine is the others within.
Those volumes sound pretty good. So what I want to reference here is just the guitar in the verses compared to the guitar in the New Master Sounds song. So if I just solo out the guitar right away here. Now if I play the new Master Sound song, you'll hear one thing right off the bat. The first thing is we're actually panned the different way. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to pan it over to the right instead of the left. So now we have the other thing I noticed, and I'll play this one again. There's a lot more reverb on the new Master Sounds one. This one is a lot deader. And I am using a slap delay. I have a video here for all my reverbs and delays. You can look at that. I'm wondering though, if I mute the slap delay and I just crank up this verb all the way, what this sounds like. Compare it to the new Master Sounds. The other thing I noticed is the EQ of the guitar is vastly different. There is a much less low end to the guitar. So I'm going to take this high pass filter and crank it way up to 200 hertz. Now we'll see what it sounds like. I'll play new Master Sounds first and then go back and forth.
Burning out breath. This time it's mine as the others within. I begin to build molds upon.
And one more time. Go back and forth between this a couple times.
Cash in the ground, it's the sound of another month. Paradise. Then I begin to build molds upon the line.
Go to the second verse and do the same thing. So there is the comparison. You'll notice they're not exactly the same. That's fine. I just want to get in the ballpark. I want to know how my song is going to sound similar to something in the same genre that's been done at a commercial studio that's out in the wild there on an actual release from a label. That's really the goal in referencing. It also kind of helps you level set your ears. If you listen to something else for a while and then you listen back to yours, you listen to something else, you'll start to notice, they start out like if we're doing a comparison, like here's my song, here's this song. What we want to do is we want to bring this one slowly up here so it sounds more like it. And I'm not talking about copying songs and making it sound the same song-wise. I'm talking pure, like the audio spectrum. Is there too much bass? Is there too much treble? Is there not enough of each? Is there too many mids? Is there like this weird boxy thing at 300 hertz? Those types of things are what I'm doing. And when I usually listen to music all day long, and I'll hear songs all day long and just make little notes of them. I happen to use Microsoft OneNote. You can use any program or notepad or just a little scratch pad. I can't read my own handwriting, so I try not to do that. But make notes. Oh, hey, this song would be perfect for this. Or I really want the bass in my song, in this song, to sound like the bass in this other song that's commercial. So I'll just make notes of that. When it comes time to mix, I'll reference and I'll use this trick and go back and forth and just kind of get things to sound the same. So anyway, there's referencing. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you can use this in some of your own mixes. I do this in both the mixing and the mastering phase. Mastering is the same thing, only there's less tracks on the screen. In fact, I have a video up here on how to master a single. I don't go into referencing in that video because I wanted to do a separate one here, but I do the same thing. I'll bring in a track, I'll compare things, make sure that they're sounding kind of sonically similar. What I don't want is I don't want this to show up in a Spotify playlist, for example, and have it be so far off that people are like, whoa, what's that? And they want to change the channel. I want it to sound similar in vein to a standard commercial release. If you like this video, leave me a comment. Let me know how you use referencing. If this is new to you, have you seen this in the forums and just don't know what it even means? Did this help? Hopefully this helps. Did this not help? If it didn't help, tell me how it didn't help, and I will see if I can address that in future videos. Meanwhile, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the video, use the little share button and share it to Facebook and Twitter and all that other stuff. And until next time, have yourselves an amazing week. plan on doing maybe even some blaze. That's not even a word. All right, here we are on Reaper. This is my band Undergrives. Undergrives. It seems like I suck at this. This is what I get for not doing this for 3 weeks.